Crosby from the corner, twisting and turning, inside out, beautiful move, trying to get to Sonami, holds, he shoots, he scores! Absolutely!
The pitch, high fly ball, center field, it's hit pretty well, toward the wall, goal!
Roethlisberger gives a lot of room here, Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races, inside the 30, the 20, the 10.
Great 10-year anniversary logo by Anthony Veltri. It's winding down October 11th, 2011. 11 years coming up. Thanks for watching our live Pittsburgh Sportsline TV show in the Bethel Park Studios in the Municipal Building right here, 5100 West Library Avenue. So we got the police station next to us. We got the library above us, the mayor's office, administration offices all here, and we're doing our shows. We want to thank everybody for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32, all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and the city of Pittsburgh. And thanks for the Facebook likes. We hit a brand new high, 6,957. 43 away from 7K. I want to get 7K by the end of the year. I'm going to have to get some new friends, Smoking Jim. I don't know if I can do it on my own, so we'll have to see. But yeah, thanks for watching our show. We got some promos to put up here right now. We got Corey on the camera. I'll see what he puts up here. I gotta get my phone adjusted. Look at that close-up. Corey's one of our new volunteers here. And this is Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Frank Fanero made our pizza, XL pepperoni pizza. Steak hoagie cut in 6 slices. Frank was there. He had a friend of his, John, and he sponsors our show. Go there to Hillcrest Shopping Center and go to Frank Fanero. He's there. He's in there tonight. He'll make you your pizza, hoagie, salads, pasta, you name it, they got it. Great food. Only 5 minutes away from our studio going the back way. So check it out. And they sponsor our show. Next up, we'll see how Corey is on this one. Nick's not here tonight, and I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Smoking Jim Frazier, and Chip Hayner. Nick's working at that radio station people don't like to mention, The Fan, but he's a producer there of the nice radio show. So he's working there, and he has a little clip during his segment. All right, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong. There's Joey before DIPG, after DIPG. It's a brain cancer that killed him at 8 years old, like 9 years ago, and his family started the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. It's a 501c3. You can donate money and write it off from as little as $1 to whatever you feel can help them find a cure for DIPG. Their great event, the 5K 1 mile superhero event at the high school, is September 19th. We'll be filming it like we have, and the Talking Machine will be doing some interviews of the people there and why they're there and how that's their largest fundraiser of the year. So check it out. They do different activities and different fundraisers throughout the year. Next up, here's another 501c3, and we'll see what Corey did. Look at that great picture. Always be smiling. The B stands for Bennett. He died at 16 and a half. He was handicapped. He had 2 kidney transplants. His dad, Dean, gave him the last one. And he was always smiling, and he was always happy. And that's why they started Always Be Smiling after he passed away. Thanks to all my friends and fans for liking Always Be Smiling. It's up over 1,200 likes. They were over 900 when we got involved with it. They just did an event last week on the Montour Trail. So check out what they're doing right here in Bethel Park and the surrounding area. And they do some things at the Gilholland Farm in Upper St. Clair, which is across from South Hills Village on 19 there. So check that out. That's Always Be Smiling. If you haven't liked them yet, please put a couple likes in there on their page. Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate it. Next up, we'll see Corey on this 501c3. There we go, the Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. 2600 South Park Road, red and white trolley on the corner. 1905 schoolhouse has been remodeled from top to bottom. If you've listened, you know I won't bore you with all the details, window, roof, remodeling inside, even a Bethel Park Community Foundation auditorium upstairs that I'm a trustee on the board. We funded money there. Dance studio, artist, and the best coffee shop in the business. Hey, you guys are talking a little loud. We're getting distracted here. So you got to talk a little lower, Corey, if you can hear me, because it's starting to come through. Sorry, folks, this is live. This is our show. We're always trying to get better, and we had a little faux pas there. So Reginald's Coffee, great coffee, got their own roaster there. They have world-class coffee beans that they roast right there in their place of business. You can see the roaster and see them roasting it up. I prefer the green tea, as you know. Each day I post a cup, my first cup of the day, and have 3 a day. No sinus infections for 22 years for all of you with allergies and sinus infections. Drink loose leaf green tea. All right, but the Arts History Center School has been totally remodeled. They do events, have a library, military uniforms, and yearbooks. So check it out for your event or activity. Next up, we'll see what Corey does on this. Papers are starting to get a little worn out, so. All right, let's see what he got. There we go. That's Kathleen Miller. A social worker friend of mine said, could I talk to Kathleen? She has kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, which I had. And I told her to make up a flyer, and she did. And last year she announced she has a living donor. And when her kidney function gets down to 15% where mine was, it's now at 16%, she'll get a kidney transplant like I got with my son Drew. If Drew's watching, hi Drew, he's doing well and he's watching our show. And he said, Dad, please don't interrupt those guys like you do. And I said, Drew, there's a method to my madness.
No, there's a madness to your method.
And I was hoping that Chip would clarify that, because that's why we get along. Shout out to Drew again. Thank you. And Kathleen will let us know when she's getting her kidney transplant, and prayers to Kathleen each day. Next up, I already mentioned Bethel Park Community Foundation. Let's see what Corey can do with this. So far, he's done very well. Look at that. Whoop. Wanted Bethel Park groups and organizations. We have grant money for you from $100 to $5,000. We can help your group make things better in Bethel Park. You can help make the community even better with your people and your groups. And the money's for you. Go to bpcf.org. You know the 3 W's go in front of it. Get an application. We meet every couple months. We're meeting on the 28th this month, so that's Thursday. So if you want to come in there, get an application, and we'll hear what you are proposing. Check it out. Next up, Dave Cable likes to have a little fun with me, and we'll see what Corey did. Whoa, there's my smiling face on Uncle Sam. Tell them Uncle Al wants you for BPTV. You can be like Corey on camera. You can be like Anthony in the control room on audio and video, or Smoking Jim calls it for whatever reason, the 1s and 2s. I have yet to see a 1 and 2 in there. I've seen 1 through 20, so I don't know where that 1 and 2 comes from, and I hate to even ask him. But we want you to be a volunteer here. We do over 500 shows a year, do a lot in studio. We do shows on location, and we do Zoom shows and all kinds of things like that. If you're in high school, give a call, 412-831-3304. Tell them Al Levine, the Talking Machine, said I could be a volunteer and learn audio, video, and how to even do my own shows if I'm a resident here like I am. So check it out. And now we're going to go to What's on Your Mind, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
They got me further back.
you got to see Levine. But I tell you what, fellas, it's a sad day today. Anytime I don't get to see Nick or A2. How come A2's not here? He's with the fan too?
He got tired of you wearing Yankee gear.
Okay, that's
Because
a
you know
reason.
he swagged up.
But here's
And
the,
then Ryan didn't show up because whatever A2 does, Ryan does.
I thought it looked like rain. He didn't want to ride the motorcycle in.
You're, again, so far off the mark.
But we got my main man Corey.
Yeah, we
Ohio
can't even
University.
acknowledge what you were
But
thinking.
it's a sad day today. Wally passed away. The big brother I never had. Wally Cleaver.
Tony Dow.
Tony Dow from Leave It to Beaver passed away, and I tell you what, man, I used to enjoy watching him on TV. He was the big brother I never had.
How many brothers do you have?
But Al Levine, the Talking Machine.
We can't get a straight answer.
Hey, you guys just think about this, and before the end of the show, give me your Mount Rushmore of Pittsburgh Steelers. My Mount Rushmore is the fourth greatest Steeler of all time is Terry Bradshaw. Third greatest is Ben Roethlisberger. Second greatest, Mean Joe Green. And the greatest Steeler of all time is
Jack Lambert.
T.J. Watt. And Al Levine, the Talking Machine, that's my Mount Rushmore. But I tell you what, I stopped by a boxing gym today. Mike Manna, who will be covering this fight, he's fighting for the cruiserweight title.
Cruiser now, 200
And then he's
pounds.
going to drop down and fight for the light heavyweight title if he wins the cruiserweight title. Then
Well,
he's
wait,
going to go all the way up and fight for the heavyweight title. So I got some shirts and stuff like that. You know, I like
Only
black
for
and white.
yourself. Only for yourself.
I like black and white.
This will never fit on your skull.
Well, I think it
only for
adjusts.
yourself.
It
like I
adjusts,
said,
so, yeah.
it don't adjust big enough.
But that's what's on my mind. Mike, man, I found it. I tell you what, you got to go through a gated community on the north side, but I felt safe. I felt safe. It's in the hood, brother. But his gym is very nice.
Didn't he
Levine.
buy Jack Mook's gym?
I don't know how.
Because that was up on the hill.
I don't know
We
how to-
went to their place because you
No,
were...
no, he didn't buy that one.
Okay.
It's
That- I
down in
knew
the
you-
valley.
Smoking Jim has a habit of playing dumb, and I caught him not being dumb.
Yeah, I remember.
He
Mooks, but
remembers.
it's not that gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down in the valley. I remember that one's up in Troy Hill. Yeah, but this is
Well,
down in
no,
the
it was
valley.
sort of still north side.
Yeah, Troy Hill's on the north side.
I'm not sure where it
But
starts at.
this one is in the
See, you know
hood.
more than you let on.
This is in the, well, without GPS, I never would have got it, and without the escort from the gated community. You had to drive through the projects to get it, brother. You'll see.
Wow.
But that's what's on my mind.
Oh, thank you, Smoking Jim. That was very apropos. All right.
Whatever that means.
Go look it up in the... I'll give you the Funkin' Wagnalls. No, we won't pull that out. Yeah.
But don't forget to give me your Mount Rushmore, unless y'all just want to copy mine. I think
No, I'm
I think
against
I
yours.
nailed it.
I'm against yours 100%. Here, Corey, here's my Funkin' Wagnalls. And Lois Brenner gave me this years ago. That's my dictionary. Apropos. How do you spell that? Well, Smoking Jim's useless because he's eating pizza. It's not in here. Approbate's the closest we got to it. Son of a gun. I can't explain what the word is. You have to Google it. You know how to Google Smoking Jim on your computer yet? Okay. Glad we got that clarified. What's on your mind, Chip Hainer?
Thank you for asking. Representing my Pittsburgh Steelers colors today on the opening day of training camp, the city of Latrobe welcomes back the Pittsburgh Steelers from a hiatus of the last 2 years because of the pandemic. And one of the things I'm most happy about is that the community that surrounds St. Vincent's College will profit from this quite handsomely, and the local economy can use it. So welcome back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next off, I'll just get this off my chest now, okay? Because, you know, we got a little somebody here that wants to what's your Steelers Mount Rushmore? Is that what he's saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Without any question of a doubt, Joe Green's number one. I'd say Franco Harris has got to be on that.
Good point. Good point.
I would say Jack Lambert, without a question of a doubt, has to go on that.
love Jack.
And as much as I hate to say it, because he championed 4 Super Bowl champions, Terry Bradshaw would be number 4.
Wow.
Well, you only gave us 3.
I gave it 4.
Yeah, you did.
Joe Green, Jack Lambert,
Franco. Okay.
Franco.
Yeah.
I was out of bounds on that one.
But you know, my heart, my sentiments lie in the 70s. But be that as it may, just a couple of thoughts about Steelers as we go into training camp. Does any of us have any idea who the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be?
Trubisky.
Mason Rudolph.
Trubisky.
And the answer to that question is no. It's an open competition.
Hold it, I
None
know.
of us know who's going to ultimately end up being the Steelers starter. Everybody's got an opinion, and you know what they say: opinions are like everybody's got one. So we'll leave that. You know, there's going to be a competition, and what happens over the next 4 weeks will speak volumes as to who is most deserving. And I'm not going to pretend like I know, okay? Because even if the Steelers did know, the last thing they would do is tell anybody about it. True.
And what about the insiders that they never tell?
Well, the insiders get about as much inside information as I get after they release something, because you know everybody wants to be the first to get information out. So you know they never take the time to verify, because journalism has gone by the wayside, or let's say quality journalism has gone by the wayside. Now the next thing in regards to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know. We couldn't go into training camp without hearing from the illustrious quarterback from the last 18 years, who's no longer a part of the team. And to be honest with you, if the next time I hear from him is 5 years from now, if and when he gets elected into the Hall of Fame, it will be too soon, okay? Ben Roethlisberger reaches out to his personal butt kisser,
Whoa.
who shall remain nameless. You know, because every time I hear him talking about Ben, I'm like, gee, did these two just share a room or what? You know?
Wow.
But anyhow, you know, so Ben goes, you know, on and talks about how the football is different now than when he came into the league. When he came into the league, the team was more, you know, the sport was more about team first, and how things have gravitated to this me first mentality of today's professional athletes. And one thing I will have to agree with Ben about, I do believe that is more in the forefront now in professional sports across the board.
Oh,
you can see it in the NBA, you can see it in Major League Baseball, you can see it in the NHL, and you can also see it, more importantly, in football.
Chip, outside of sports, me is very popular.
Well, this is a me first generation.
Thank you.
Okay, but anyhow, what I find most amusing about Ben Roethlisberger making that comment, he is probably one of the biggest me first people that have ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers in their history.
Great point, Chip.
I mean, here's a guy who got coddled to and catered to, more than anybody that I've ever seen. He didn't have to practice on Wednesdays. He didn't even have to practice, until he showed up for practice on Sunday, on Saturday. He didn't have to get with his offensive coordinator because he's like, well, I'll call my own plays because you're the offensive coordinator and you don't know as much about football as I do, even though you've been in the sport 50 years longer.
Right.
So, that's another thing. And then the one thing that I hear, this constant criticism of Mike Tomlin, because the Steelers have only won 3 playoff games in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And once again, Mr. Me First, I think, is more responsible for the Steelers only winning 3 playoff games in the last 10 years.
You mean Ben?
Than the head coach, of course.
Just clarifying that for our fans.
When we played Jacksonville and when we played the Cleveland Browns in our last 2 of our last 3 humiliations in the playoffs, okay, was it Mike Tomlin that threw 4 interceptions and fumbled twice?
No.
No. Well, was it Mike Tomlin not covering a fumbled snap in the end zone to let the Cleveland Browns fall on it for a touchdown? No, because Ben was me first. I'm making a business decision. I don't want to ruin my manicure or whatever it was he was doing.
Whoa!
I am so sick of hearing about Ben and why he's got to inject his name into this year's
season
training camp. He tried to say, well, I think I played pretty well last year. Well, let's see. The Steelers, their first half offense ranked 31st in the NFL. Okay,
good point.
Fewest number of points scored in the first half, ranked in the NFL. Most passes completed of less than 3 yards. Yes, he was number 1 in that.
All good records.
Well, all good records. Fastest release of football. Now, granted, he didn't have an offensive line, and he didn't want to get hit, and he didn't want to get hurt. But, if anybody saw the way he played last year, he definitely stayed a year too long. And to think that he could perform at a premium level this year, I think the Steelers are going to be better off without him. So, that all being said, everybody has picked the Pittsburgh Steelers as being in 4th place in our division this year.
Right.
And just remember, the same people that are saying the Steelers are going to be in 4th place in the division this year are the same people that guaranteed us that Cleveland was going to win the division last year. So that's how much credence I put in.
To go back 2 years ago, Smoking Jim said Cleveland was going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if they buy tickets.
He didn't say that. He said with Baker, he's the greatest quarterback that come out.
That all being said, I'm really excited for this year because this is going to be the first year that this is going to be 100% Mike Tomlin's team. No longer can anybody say he's winning with Cowher's quarterback or he's winning with somebody else's players. I have a feeling that this year that the Steelers are going to be better than anybody gives them credit for. I do not expect them to be in last place, and I do expect them to be an above 500 team this year.
Whoa.
That's what's on my mind.
Wow. Thank you, Chip Hayner. First off, I want to shout Anthony Bacco for watching the show. Thanks, Anthony. New friend of mine. Dave Cable has a Mount Rushmore of Pittsburgh sports. Al, Nick, Chip, and Jim. Chief said, good call, Dave Cable. I second that emotion, Dave Cable.
Thank you, Dave.
Amy's on vacation. She's not working at Giant Eagle, having a great time. Said she had bad storms, giving us updates. Anthony Bacco made his first statement. Rudolph should be traded. What kind of value will you get for him, Anthony?
Yeah, what happens if Trubisky or Pickett get hurt? We need somebody to back them up.
And Chief's on fire usually, so he comes back with 6 comebacks for Ben, which we're thankful for, but he was obviously done. And Chief, I appreciate your knowledge. I wondered why that was the worst season I had watching football, because we didn't score till the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game to win. So it was very frustrating for me as a Steeler fan.
Once again, you blame it on the coach because the quarterback wouldn't call the plays that the coach wanted to run, and then so forth.
No, I understand. Ralph Williams, hello. Tony from Chick-fil-A has a question for Smokin' Jim. You know, those two guys bonded because he calls him Anthony, and, you know, we got two Anthonys in here, but whatever. So since Smokin' Jim is a degenerate gambling man, I added degenerate, Mega Millions is up to $830 million for the lottery, not Bitcoins. That was perfect. And Ralph put out their at Latrobe this year, and that's part of what Chip said at the beginning. So thanks for confirming that. And then Anthony said none, so I don't know what that was up to. So, all right, what's on my mind? Kyler Murray and the Cardinals had disputes, and they put their dirty laundry out there, which teams, when they negotiate in contracts, talking about how he's not a good leader, yet they wanted to sign him to a $235 million contract. So I'm thinking you negotiate through the media, and then you do a couple more dumb things. You explain that you want your quarterback to study film with no gaming interruptions, no texting, no other things, from 4 hours. Now listen to this, only 4 hours a week. Yeah. I thought it was 4 hours a day, which I know some guys are like 12 to 18 hours, 24 hours a day studying film. Whereas the coaches used to tell us, film.
Right.
You got to get your film.
Those are the guys that are also going to the Hall of Fame.
Well, it goes without saying. So now, how incredibly dumb does it look? You're talking about your quarterback doesn't study film, so we're requiring them only study 4 hours of film, and you're not even asking them to break it down or whatever else. You're just going to have them watch it. So what's he going to do with it? Then I saw one of the things, there was a quote that he has such a good brain that he's intuitive in what he sees with defenses and knows how to react naturally. So why would they put that in a contract? And then I negotiated 6 multi-million-dollar contracts, and why would the Cardinals put that in a contract if they didn't have a problem with them? And how could Kyler Murray and his agent agree to put that in a contract? Here's my question, being a negotiator. Were there other worse things that they wanted to put in about Kyler Murray, even though they love him? So what faults that they're picking on did they want to put in there that they didn't? So maybe this was a compromise from making him look worse in the public and the media. And to me, in this day and age, there's 24/7 social media. Why would you put in 4 hours with no interruption of studying film? And we're going to come back with Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac in 10 seconds.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine, my main man, Chip. What's on my mind? I'll tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, I am so humbled. This week, I got honored by the Senate of Pennsylvania. I got a proclamation by Senator Jay Costa, and it's just so humbling to see the people in person that I voted for all these years. Al Levine, the talking machine, all that getting up early so I could be the first in line to vote. And now it all paid off with a proclamation and a letter of recognition from the the Senate of Pennsylvania. So I'm very humbled, and I want to thank
Sure the Senate didn't get paid off?
I got to put a disclaimer up there.
I got a proclamation too, Al Levine, the talking machine, on the voting paid off.
I got a couple questions on it. First, how do they give any proclamation to a gentleman who's my best friend and he's an honest man who doesn't vote. How do you get that? Second, who put the bug in their ear to do this?
Did you have something to do with it, Alabama?
No, I'm asking who, because
How about you, Rob?
I'm telling you, I would think it was a few dead presidents.
well, on that first thing, you got to have some, and rarely have I ever seen a man he can choke a horse with a Philadelphia single roll. And I've seen rolls that thick. I'll give a story from the Pittsburgh Press. Chief will recognize the name. Tom Jennis used to carry money for gamblers. He'd pick up their money. And he'd have wads of hundreds like this and this. Wow. And he'd pull it out and he'd throw it on a table, 6 of them. So there was, $5,000, $10,000. He goes, "That's the lumber yard, kids. That's where all the lumber is." And Chief will remember that, but he was quite the character. Smoking Jim, I don't know who you paid or how you got even into this, or maybe who you gave Sweetie's phone number out to. Who? I'm going to have to investigate this. I now need 25 investigations, not just 17. You went to another level. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you getting any awards, no matter how you get them. So we'll go with that. Now let's go to trivia time with Chip in 10 seconds.
Another lovely sunny Sunday afternoon in Cooperstown, New York.
Yo.
This year's class of inductees into the Major League Hall of Fame. Just to give a little shout out to the inductees. Number 1, Big Papi, David Ortiz of the Boston Red Sox fame. First time selection, 77.9% of the vote. Now we go to people from the Seniors Committee, and a much deserving star of the 1960s. Tony Oliva. He played most of his career with the Minnesota Twins.
I remember him.
He was runner-up in the American League MVP race in 1965-1970. Made 8 straight All-Star Game appearances. The Cuban paired with legendary slugger Harmon Killebrew to form one of the most exciting duos in baseball throughout the mid-60s and early 70s. Next up, somebody that I felt was should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago, Jim Kaat. Above all else, Kaat was an absolute workhorse. The southpaw threw at least 200 innings in 14 different seasons. He exceeded 300 innings 2 of those years. Kaat was by far the most durable pitcher of his era, and it is a career with more than 900 games pitched. His career spanned 4 decades and was spotlighted by a sparkling 1966 campaign in which he started 41 games, threw 19 complete games, and posted a 3.02 ERA.
Without any Tommy John surgery.
And he finished 5th in the American League MVP voting that year. And next up here is somebody that played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. I remembered him because as a young boy, I had a first baseman's mitt, which was his autographed model.
Whoa.
Gil Hodges.
Yeah.
Few players were as good defensively at first base as Hodges. He had a chunk of his early career taken away by military service, but once he returned from duty, he was a force. He was in a lineup with fellow Hall of Famers Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, Pee Wee Reese, and Duke Snider.
Yeah.
But he could more than hold his own with the bat. He had 6 seasons with at least 30 dingers, 2 with over 40, and with the glove, few could compare. Next up, and I stand corrected about this because I always thought that Roberto Clemente was the first in this thing, but Minnie Minoso.
Yeah.
Minnie Minoso played most of his career with the Chicago White Sox. Tore up the best competition in the Negro Leagues had to offer, hitting .350, .394. at 527. That's with his on-base percentage and his OPS with the New York Cubans between 1947 and 48. He joined the White Sox in 1951 and proceeded to tear up the American League. He was one of the most selective hitters in the league during this peak. Finished his career with nearly 300 more walks than strikeouts. Minoso also set stage for Cuban stars to transition to Major League Baseball. Another player who was famous for his exploits in the Negro Leagues, played for both Pittsburgh teams, both the Crawfords and the Homestead Grays. Buck O'Neil. He was a Negro League icon in every sense of the word. He pieced together a wonderful career with the Kansas City Monarchs, playing for the legendary club throughout the 40s before transitioning to the manager in the 50s. He went on to join the Cubs as a scout and brought a number of talented players, including Lou Brock.
Wow.
He became the first black coach in Major League Baseball history, 1962. Next up, Bud Fowler. Is another black baseball pioneer, although many details surrounding his playing career are unknown. Played a pivotal role in creating conditions for black players to succeed. So that wraps up the this year's inductees. And I looked at the people that were eligible to get into the Hall of Fame this year, and I think it could be quite possible that there is no inductees this year.
Wow.
Looking at the list
You
of
heard it
candidates.
here first on Pittsburgh Sports Line.
All those people aren't getting in?
No, the people
They're
that I
in.
just spoke, they got inducted on Sunday.
They're in the Cooperstown.
They're in the Hall
Oh,
of
you're
Fame.
talking about for next year.
For next year,
He
I don't
changed
believe
subjects,
anybody's going to get in.
Yeah, that's what
As a
he
matter of fact, wouldn't this be a great year
Smoking
for
Jim,
some of
that's
the
not
most
in there.
deserving people to get elected into the Hall of Fame that have not yet? And I can think of two off the top of my head.
Want to begin with Al?
Al Oliver, first baseman extraordinaire, his center fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. His statistics are better than Dave Parker's.
He'll never get in.
And next, and most importantly, two-time World Series championship manager for the Pittsburgh Pirates,
Yes.
Danny Murtaugh.
I thought he was in.
No, he came up short in the vote this past year, and I think it was an injustice. And I do believe that Danny Murtaugh belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Couldn't agree with you more on both of those,
Why are they
Chip.
putting such a big class in?
That isn't a big class.
That
It's
is-
not even close to yours.
No, only one player on his first year of eligibility got elected.
Yeah.
The rest was all senior
Is
committees.
that the one guy?
And
David
then-
Ortiz, Big Poppy,
Give me some of his stats, because I never looked at him as a Hall of Fame.
521
You never
home
watched
runs.
him. You never watched him.
Yeah,
And
Big
let me
Pop-
do a disclaimer before they get into this too deeply. Smoking Jim started the Pittsburgh Sportsline Hall of Fame in 2013. There's some misunderstanding that it was his birthday bash too. That only started maybe about 5 or 6 years ago that it became a birthday bash because I brought a cake to one of them. And somehow he has a misconception there. And he never had less than, I don't know, 10 or 12
Okay,
Hall of Famers in our Hall of Fame, which I'm proud of it. So who's he to say about baseball when he never played?
Here's his statistics: 541 home runs, 1,768 RBIs, career batting average of 290.
You must have missed a couple stuff like watching him.
No, his career batting average was 286.
Yeah.
But the last year of his career, he led the major leagues in on-base percentage, or an OPS at a 1.021.
Wow,
Last
that's
year
great.
in the majors, he had 38 home runs, 127 RBIs, 48 doubles, 1 triple. That was when he was 40 years old.
And he was a big guy like you, Smoking Jim.
He won 3 world championships with the Boston Red Sox.
Did he?
Helped to break the curse of the Bambino.
Well, maybe he should be in. But the Killebrew and them, they played in the Astrodome, right?
No, they did not. They played in Metropolitan Stadium.
Killebrew
in-
was in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's the Astrodome.
No, Houston.
Oh, Houston. Okay.
Smoking Jim, your football history carries through.
'Cause I was at the Astrodome.
Oh, that's because of football.
Love you, blue.
Love you, bro.
We're going to go to a special VIP video that Nick made it in the studio today. and it's 6 minutes long. So if you have to go to the bathroom, don't go. Well, just hold on. All right.
Well, it's VIP time, and don't tell Al, but I'm sitting in his seat right now. I'm so excited. I've never got to sit in his seat before. But I'm not live on the show right now because I'm working at 93.7 The Fan doing the Paul Zay show. So after Sportsline, you can check that show out. I may or may not be on the air, but I'll definitely be producing the show. So, again, that's where I am right now. But something happened over the weekend that got me a little upset, a little uneasy. So, Madison Bumgarner gave up a home run against the Nationals outfielder Victor Robles. And, we all know about Bumgarner. If you followed baseball, he's kind of grouchy. He's very old school. He doesn't like when other players show him up. And he thought Victor Robles did when he hit a home run. And I'll show you that here. I don't really think he did. He was just kind of, excited. He watched it for a second, think he liked it. And then Bumgarner didn't like this reaction from Robles. And after the game, Bumgarner called Robles a clown and said that he told him to clean it up, clean his act up. And I think that's hilarious to call somebody a clown for something like that. And then, but Robles took it to the next level. The next day, Robles is sitting in the dugout with a clown nose. And I'm like, go, guy. Put on that clown nose. Embrace the name. Embrace the anger. And I'll come back to that story. But the Pirates had a similar situation. O'Neal Cruz hit a home run against the Marlins. And, it took a quick second to take a look at it before he started jogging. And I didn't think it was that egregious. But when the Pirates catcher, DeLay, came up to the plate, DeLay got hit with a pitch, and Sandy Alcantara throws 100 miles an hour, so I'm sure that hurt. But that was like Alcantara was sending a message to DeLay and the rest of the Pirates to not do that when they hit home runs. Don't celebrate or try to show up a pitcher too much, even though I don't think that's the case. So here's my message. And I already know what Chip's gonna think when he hears this. That's how the game's played. You shouldn't be showing up players, and pitchers have a right to throw at any hitters because they've been shown up. Keep the class in the game. And listen, I don't think that expression of excitement is showing up a player. There are countless examples where pitchers have gotten excited. And, after a big strikeout or after getting a big out in a close game, they'll, I'm happy, or scream, and, or Fernando Rodney used to shoot a bow and arrow just into the infinite sky. Like, okay, well, nobody's upset about that, but the hitter, watches the home run for a couple seconds before jogging, and we're all upset. And I don't necessarily like that. And here's the thing. As a pitcher, if you're going to let a hitter succeeding throw you off your game and get you upset and make you focus on that, then the hitter's winning. I guarantee you that the hitters are doing this to the pitchers or doing this to an extent to make pitchers upset. So if you're a pitcher and you give up a home run, you just reset. Doesn't matter how they reacted. Like, Bumgarner mentioned that the Diamondbacks won 7-2 against the Nationals, so it's like you won the game. Okay, he hits a home run and he wants to be excited about it, or he wants to be slightly flashy. Like, the bottom line is you won the game, Madison. You won the game. So all that tells me is that pitchers who give up those home runs are more upset and more focused on that than actually pitching and actually winning the game. And so if you're a hitter and you're going to do that, keep doing it. I mean, you're not in a rush to play baseball games anymore. Back in the day, you didn't want to be too flashy like that. You wanted to, spread out your home runs because the sun was a factor in whether you could keep playing or not. But now we're in an era where, the expressions can happen. You got lights. There's no limit on how long the games can go. So, if you're taking a minute to just, embrace the fact that you did something well as a hitter by hitting that home run, then, it's okay. I don't think that either Robles or Cruz was egregious in their home run celebrations, and certainly DeLay didn't deserve to be thrown at. Again, the Nationals lost anyway, even though that home run was hit. So, like, if you're a pitcher, focus on the task at hand. And another thing, too, with the Alcantara situation, stop hitting players intentionally like that for hitting home runs. It's nonsense. It's dangerous. Alcantara throws 100 miles per hour. Okay? That could do some damage to the body if you're not careful. And hitting batters, it's not good for the game. It might have used to be exciting back in the 60s or whenever baseball had its glory days. It was fun to hit batters and retaliate. But like now, it's just toxic masculinity. That's what I'm going to call it. It's toxic masculinity for these pitchers to hit these batters just because they're upset with a mistake pitch that got capitalized on.
Oh, on location. September 3rd, Monsville Prison, which is haunted. We're going there again. Smoking Jim and I will probably be bringing our own camera, and we'll be filming great fighters. You heard Smoking Jim earlier. I don't know if you paid attention, but he mentioned Michael Manna. He'll be fighting. Hopefully he's healthy enough to fight. So we'll see him there, and it's usually a great night. Thanks to Jim Frio and Mike Murray, the legendary MMA boxer, and you name it. He's just a true legend. Invited us down to film the fights. So we're looking forward to that. Christopher Ralph has us going to fights in Southside on September 24th. So that's our on location. That's all I have for you. A couple other.
Hey, Machine, can we take Bo to Moundsville? He likes
No.
the haunted stuff.
I told him he could ride with us.
Yeah,
Because I said Smoking Jim's driving. He'll pick me up at my house. I'll have the cameras. If Bo wants to go.
Nick will probably drive. He likes
Nick
to
said he can't.
Oh, I'll drive.
Yeah, he already said he can't. So you got the nomination.
I'll have the peanuts.
But thanks for asking for Bo. I already invited him to go, so we'll see if he can make it. But we'll see what happens there. All right, that's all I got for my on location. Sorry for a little bit of the confusion here, but it is live TV and we're short-staffed tonight. So all you volunteers that want to join PPTV, make sure you call 412-831-3304. I'll open it up to Smoking Jim with Steeler camp opening. He says he's a Steeler scout and NFL scout, and I know he watches 2 films a day. What do you know?
Well, Al Levine, the talking machine, again, I think I'm in the minority again.
What would change?
I would be very surprised if at some point this season, maybe even the first game of the season, that Mason Rudolph is not the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I have to ask a serious question, no disclaimer. But with what you've seen, and you're a good scout, and you point out many things, but that's one of your craziest statements that I've heard in over 700 shows. The Steelers gave up on him.
He's still on the team.
The Steelers, let me quote it again, gave up on him. So what else do you have for us? Because on Rudolph.
Here's what my thoughts are about Mason Rudolph. Everybody's thrown in the towel on him, and and has he really been given a proper chance?
No.
And I think the answer to that question is no. He's played a small handful of games under adverse circumstances. When Ben originally hurt his arm, he was not prepared to go in and be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
Running an offense that he wasn't familiar with. And then, of course, he got banged up. He was playing half hurt.
Smoking Jim's guy hit him with a helmet.
So, I would like to see if Mason Rudolph can be and I'm not discounting any one of the 3 as being the starting quarterback. I would love it if Kenny Pickett ultimately became the Steelers starting quarterback and took them to the playoffs year after year after year. Do I think he's capable of doing that right now at this minute? I think the answer to that question is no. He hasn't proven it to me that he's worthy to be a star caliber quarterback in the NFL. Mitch Trubisky. I think this is a perfect opportunity to find out, is he capable of leading offense? Because I think with the type of defense that the Steelers have this year, they don't need to have the league leader in most completions, most touchdown passes, or whatever. They need a quality game manager.
No, Chip, you're so right.
The Steelers' defense is going to be the reason why they're going to win games this year.
Well, here's why I'm hopeful. They have the highest paid defense in the league. And on the other hand, going to Smoke and Jim's theory, they have the lowest paid offense. So I could see Rudolph being a starter instantly about the money. But they signed Trubisky for a reason. There was a coach named Nagy who I have no respect for. I respect most coaches when they're in a league. But he looked so lost, and just at the start of a game, during a game, with the different things that he put in and what he had players doing, and you're a head coach. How he got the job, I don't know. And I just saw Trubisky was a number 2 draft pick. He has some speed. He has an arm that he can throw a little bit. And I think the opportunity, if we truly have an offensive line this year, that's the other thing. When Mason Rudolph was in and filling in for Ben, they didn't have a good offensive line then.
And I'll tell you what, Mason Rudolph, his last year in college, threw a really nice deep ball. I mean, as good as any as I've seen. So,
Well, I saw the same.
So
thing
I would
with
like to see actually all 3 of them play and let their performance on the field dictate what direction that goes in. And where that's going to go, I don't have any idea. Yeah. But I like the fact that they've got 3 quarterbacks that could potentially,
Well, here's where I disagree with you in my opinion, that they spent money and Omar Khan okayed it, and I think they're going to give Trubisky the chance to lose the starting job. I think that's what they're going to do. Now, Mason Rudolph, with common sense, he knows our system now, should get an opportunity.
I don't think there's any preconceived notions.
I believe there is.
Well, that's
where we disagree.
We can agree to disagree.
I believe, because I've seen the lack of leadership from Art Rooney, being just a fan, and he has other coaches in there.
But the one thing that doesn't surprise me is that the one that everybody are absolutely convinced won't be on the roster come the first game of the season is the one that Jim likes.
Well,
I mean, he's true to form.
Well, let me explain something. Somebody named Doc should have been our starter and is one of the best quarterbacks that Smoke and Jim.
Thank you.
Did you hear that he retired from professional football because he couldn't even make the roster in the Canadian Football League?
Yes, I heard that, but I brought it up not to highlight Smoke and Jim, but to prove that he's an honest man who's not always right. And these are my opinions, and some of my logic is I hope and pray Kenny Pickett can be a good starting quarterback. There's a couple drawbacks. You brought up about Rudolph being a good quarterback at, Oklahoma was it?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. I saw him play and win games, and I thought he looked good when we got him. But then I saw a difference, whether the speed and the pace of the game makes a difference. How many quarterbacks have you seen that are good in college or great, and they don't make it? And that's what I put on him, and I put that little hat on Kenny Pickett. Not that he can't do it. He had a great year, but I'm sick and tired of friends and fans that I know around here say he had a Marino-type year. He's no Danny Marino. Like I said before, I saw him play in person at walking Cardiac Hill to go to Pitt Stadium. So I saw it. I saw him play down for Miami. I was down there in the Orange Bowl with a brother-in-law and some other people down there. They had tickets there, and people were going, Cinco, Diaz. You had to park in people's front yards. I'm like, what are they saying in Spanish? They were all Spanish. So we parked, watched the game, and Danny Marino, I think, was playing the Vikings, and they won. He was always a great quarterback, always watched him when he was on. Pickett is not even close to Danny Marino. Could he be a good player? I don't know. I'm hopeful, and he's going to make some money. And I know he had some talent and skills in his last year.
Well, look what happened with, like, for example, Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw. First 4 years of his career, he got benched.
That's my point.
He got beat out in training camp in 1974 by Joe Gillum.
We got to end on that point. Joe Gillum, may rest in peace. He was a Steeler starter. And please stay Joey strong.